Hey, everybody, welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. It is week 2 of the quarantine here in New York. Me and Pete are once again separated, which, frankly, I think we both prefer it.
Yeah, I think it kind of worked out. It kind of worked out.
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I'm a little suspicious of where you were on December 14th.
You should be, because I wear flip-flops all around the city.
Yeah, you do.
But you have a vomit bowl. You keep a vomit bowl in your home, so... we'll have to ask the viewers, who's more disgusting?
The World Health Organization came out and said the number one cause for the spread was people
wearing
flip-flops. Was where people wearing flip-flops in the subway. Yeah. They said it was absolutely disgusting.
You know what? I was listening to Fox News, and they said vomit bowls. Who are you going to believe?
Good call. Well, I'm believing Hannity all the way.
So this week, I asked for the listeners' Corona stories, of which I think everybody has one or another. Some are pretty serious. Some are based around homeschooling and the nightmare that is. Actually, day 2 of homeschooling for me today. Remote classroom went okay. Day one did not
day one was
go well. Day 1, I was woken up at 5, and it was just downhill from there.
Yeah.
Day 2, a little bit better. We did phys ed outside in our little yard.
Oh wow.
I'm feeling the effects of that. Did some squats.
Okay.
To show my 4th grader how squats work, and I regret doing that.
Did you have to actually go outside, or did you stand on the inside yelling at him, telling him what to do?
No, usually I yell at him when we're both in the same place. So when we were both outside, there was a lot of yelling, and then when we were both inside, there was a lot of yelling.
Okay.
I try to make the yelling. I like it up close and personal.
Yeah.
It's more effective.
Yeah.
It makes him hate me more. That
way. Right.
So today went okay, again, I was it's basically every day is a countdown till like 5:30 when I can have a beer and calm down. I know you're still doing dry spring.
Yeah. I just figured I'd wait for some kind of global pandemic to really cut out the alcohol. You know what I mean? So
it's literally the dumbest. I mean, look, it's the dumbest decision you've ever made, and you've made your fair share.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, this isn't my first pandemic. This isn't your first pandemic either. I don't know if you remember, but remember when you caught Beiber Fever?
Beiber Fever, yeah.
That really swept the globe. And
can I be honest?
You were pretty sick for days.
Can I be honest?
Stop dancing and moving, and your body was flowing. I remember.
He has one that's like St. Vitus dance. He has one song that I like. I think maybe it's called "Sorry" or something.
Is it the one where it's I don't think my mom never liked you or something?
Yeah, and she likes everyone. Yeah. I think what's the other one? Desperado or something? What's it called?
Well, you're still recovering. Obviously, it's still in your system. You've passed it on.
It can stay airborne for years.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yep. It's in your mucus.
So tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about coronavirus. We got a lot of stories from people, and I have a story of my own to share a little bit. But we want to reassure everyone this is not going to become, the dad and coronavirus podcast. I'm sure as it stays in the news, we'll have some stuff to talk about, but we're going to shift gears after this week and get back to just trashing parenting as if it were normal times. Yeah.
We want to bring back that normalcy and really just make sure that we're accounting for all the misgrievances that have happened to us during our weekly lives.
Exactly, with or without the coronavirus.
We don't need no stinking pandemic to complain.
We sure don't.
We were doing just fine before. Yeah.
So as always, before we get into your comments and our, whatever it is we do, I'm not really sure. No. We're going to talk about some of the ways you can support us. Obviously, you can subscribe, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. We could use more 5-star ratings on iTunes. We're getting closer to 200, which was supposed to be me playing the clarinet, but I don't have the clarinet in my possession.
Okay.
So we'll see what we can do. Maybe people can give us some suggestions for what I should, how I should debase myself when we hit 200 reviews. And you can watch us on YouTube and leave comments in individual episodes, or you can throw us a little bit of dough on Patreon or Anchor. And I'm going to run through the wonderful people who do that already. On Anchor, we have Ryan Miller and MS Babayan. For the single dad tier on Patreon, we got Check Your Kids at the Door, Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam, and Tina Davis. The dad bod tier, Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, and Morning Glow. The father figure tier, Wes Clark and Jennifer Wynn, my old friend Julie McCarthy, and Paula Polsky, who must just be bereft without the CFL. I don't even know. Again, we talked about this last week. I have no idea when that season is. I assume it's the fall. So maybe he'll be okay. Yeah. And on the World's Greatest Dad tier, the very generous Mary Williams and Julie Burton. Thank you guys very much. You can go there and you can throw us some money if you want, or you can just throw us a 5-star rating on iTunes, or just subscribe and listen and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
You guys have been very open and honest, both with your feedback and with your Corona stories. Some of these are pretty rough, and a lot of these are actually pretty funny, which it's what it's like on a daily basis. Like you go to the news and you see something freaky, and then your kid shits in his pants. Even though he's been potty trained, he shits in his pants 3 times in a row. You can't help but laugh, because me, I'm laid back. I was just laughing. There was no yelling. There was no you're humiliating yourself.
Yeah. You do a great job, and you're really our lighthouse in the storm. Like,
look to me, I'm a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get into our Corona stories right after this. All right, so we are back, and we are talking about coronavirus. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's been a little, I don't know what news outlet you watch, but the ones I've been watching, it is all over the place. How about you?
Yeah, I heard of it like 3 days ago. I just sort of came to,
You got back from spring break, and you were like, oh, coronavirus.
What's funny is people talk about staycations. Well, my sort of dream is to be in my apartment with all of us, all 5 of us in our apartment for a long period of time.
You're in luck.
And so no media, just us, just really kind of
no media.
Yeah,
like olden times.
Yeah, like olden times. Just simply airing grievances left and right. And so I turned on started surfing the internet, and there it is. Corona.
Can you imagine if, like, tomorrow, like, the internet went down?
Oh, that would be good. That wouldn't be good.
Would do.
That wouldn't be good.
That would be
good.
Unbelievable.
No, we wouldn't be.
Fortunately, that isn't one of the stories that anybody is talking about. Nobody is talking about having lost power or anything like that. But people have other struggles. So I don't know. So this week, Mama Buried shared a little bit about the fact that she has been virtually diagnosed by her doctor with coronavirus. She couldn't get a test, which was part of the saga, right? So almost about 2 weeks ago now, she started having symptoms, and then immediately you think, oh my God, is this coronavirus? And she is at higher risk because she has, not only does she have multiple sclerosis, she takes a drug every 6 months. She gets an infusion of a drug that suppresses her immune system. So immediately, like, we were on high alert, being like, all right. And so that's one of the reasons we were nervous when they hadn't canceled school yet.
Right.
Because kids can get it, right, or carry it, and they get everything. And every time somebody brings a cold home, my wife gets it. So for a while, especially the first week, it was pretty harrowing and scary. Is this going to get worse and worse and worse? It seems like it's stabilized. She's been kind of status quo for a while, and the doctor said if she stays status quo and doesn't get any new symptoms, in a couple of days, she'll probably be clear to come out of her self-isolation and help me homeschool these damn kids, because man, it is not my strong point.
What's really weird is I believe you said you heard her, like, with the music on pumping in your room, and when you open the door, you're like, hey, what are you doing in there? And she's like, nothing, self-isolating. And she slammed the door.
I went out back.
She's like, and then she said another 3 weeks.
I went out back, and there was like a rope ladder out the window. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I can't go in the bedroom to see if she's still in there, but hopefully she's not down in Daytona Beach, because that would be a bad idea.
Right.
But for us, so what's funny is a lot of people complaining and looking for me to complain about homeschooling and being home with the kids, and is it driving you crazy yet? And for me, it was like, that's like the least of my problems. Like, that shit is annoying. Right. But with the fact that, like, somebody has been diagnosed with this thing, is in my house, and it's my wife. Like, that was a million times more stressful, and still is, than like the nerve-wracking nature of being stuck inside with my kids for weeks on end.
Right.
Thankfully, in a couple of days, hopefully my wife is free and clear, and I can just go back to just bitching and being angry about my children, which I think, well, it's going to do wonders for the podcast and my Instagram account.
Totally.
Which is all that really matters.
Fingers crossed. So you can really get back to those memes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Things that are really important.
We'll see where we are in a week, both in my house and in the country and in the world at large. But hopefully things will improve. Hopefully by the time people listen to this on Thursday when it comes out,
Yeah.
we'll have some news. So watch my Instagram, watch my wife's Instagram. She's Mom and Buried, if you couldn't figure that out. And watch Pete's Instagram. Oh no.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't just imagine. Just imagine what it would be like. It would be awful. No. But no, my kids are, it's tough. It's been tough kind of dealing with this. I think, talking with them, my 5-year-old, they don't quite understand, like, how do you talk about social distancing? I mean, I've sat them down. I've tried to be as plain as possible without kind of over emphasizing it, and just told them, look, social distancing means you have to stay 6 feet away from me. Do you understand? 6 feet away from me.
Not only through the pandemic.
Damn close. You got to be away from me. And they just don't get it. You know what? These kids, they're not very good.
They're like leeches. Yeah. They cling to you.
They're all just constantly all over you. And you're doing, like now everyone in the world who works at home and taking calls reminds me of the guy on the BBC interview.
Yeah.
The guy with the tie, and his son comes in and he's like trying to push him away. That's
his wife charges in to try to get the baby out. Yeah, it's classic stuff. Except
for in my case, it's my wife who comes in going, where, what's our Zern login?
And your kid tries to pull her out.
Yeah. Exactly.
That would be pretty good. You should recreate that. If you had a social media account, it would go viral. But you don't, because you know what?
Good.
You've got no forethought. You're not capitalizing on the pandemic.
On the virality of social media.
Exactly.
What do we got?
So, I asked people, I said, look, let me hear your corona stories, whether it's about you've been sick, or you know somebody who's sick, or just the social distancing, or being at home with your kids. And I got a wide range of responses. So we're going to talk about something. So the decent mother says, and I can't imagine this scenario, but the decent mother seems to be making light of it. She says, I'm a week past my due date and would like everyone to feel sorry for me.
Oh my
God. What? I do feel sorry for her, but not as sorry as I'll feel when she has a newborn, because that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. This is an interesting comment. We have a neighbor who's due very soon.
Like in your building?
Yeah, and she just said that New York City, there's only, and I think there's another comment, but there's only one person can be in the delivery room at any time.
Oh, no. Somebody says that, yeah.
But that was like a week ago, I think, or a few days ago, because in this case, it can only be the doctor and the mom.
Oh no.
Yeah, there can't be.
So no moral support from the husband, is he in the waiting room with like a cigar, or is he at home like watching Netflix?
I think he's playing basketball. I think that's the appropriate thing to do in this case. In my case, I was on music because we had a doula, so I was put in charge of music, and so
when my second son, when the hammer was born, I had my playlist going, and as she was in labor, right when he was being born, "You Don't Know How It Feels" by Tom Petty came on.
Oh, that's good.
You know what? Because I didn't know how it felt. I was having a good time.
My middle kid, the dude, came out to Back in Black, AC/DC. Literally.
That's pretty cool.
It actually was really cool, and it was a huge thunderstorm outside.
We had a tornado.
Yeah, but ours was a Category 5 hurricane.
Okay. And, I had an earthquake. It was like a 10 on the Richter.
Okay. All right.
All right.
What else we got?
So we got Casey Horrell says that she has given birth, and she's dealing with postpartum anxiety syndrome during Corona, which, the anxiety around this thing, anytime you get a scratchy throat or you cough because you have something stuck in your throat or anything, everybody immediately is like, I have this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And as my wife has kind of been dealing with it, a lot of that is like anybody who's like self-quarantined, all they're doing is reading all these horror stories nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to avoid. And God forbid you do get sick. You are a little sick. You can't help but be like, tracking the symptoms. How long is this going to last? And what's going to happen next? It sucks. So I can't imagine dealing with postpartum at the same time.
Yeah. Hang in there, Casey Horrell.
Yeah.
Horrell.
So Rachel MJP. Now this is pretty unique. She's in New Zealand, and she said that her ex has. So they announced a lockdown, and her ex went to the school and picked up her kids from the school, snatched them away, so that he would have them during the lockdown. So she said that he has stolen our sons from school today. So obviously a very rare.
What the fuck?
Yes, I don't think that's in the custody agreement.
No.
So that's a harrowing as well. I mean, look, I told you, some of these were some rough situations. This is an unprecedented situation. Lockdowns, quarantines.
Right.
So I think we've told my kids a couple of times, like, this is a big deal and it has never happened before to us, right? So we're all figuring out. So cut me some goddamn sleep.
Yeah, right. So brush your teeth and go to bed.
Exactly. It's an absolute nightmare. Like, buddy, like, I don't want you to be nervous, but realize that I'm nervous. Okay. Yeah. So let's everybody chill it.
Yeah.
So Bentini 80, who's a very loyal, and literally every single time I ask for a response or ask a question for the podcast, she'll send like 8 boxes worth, like just a nonstop novel. Like, thank you for your participation. But this is a long one too, but it's crazy, right? So she's like, not only is she due with her second baby in 3 weeks, she can only have her husband in the room.
Oh, yeah.
But at least she has her husband, although who knows, a couple of days ago, maybe that has changed. I don't know where she lives. She said, we can't have visitors at the hospital or afterwards. And she's like, it's kind of a weird and eerie time to have a baby. Every time they go to the hospital, like visit the doctor or whatever, they get screened in the parking lot, just getting from the parking lot to the door. They get screened.
Right.
And it's a circle of life. She has a grandmother who's 93, who's in a nursing home that usually gets several visits a week from her sister, and her mom. And they can't go. And the grandma is like confused and doesn't really understand, like, just two sides of the coin, right? Like the having a baby must be terrifying right now. And the grandma, the older people,
right,
especially the ones that are kind of, losing it a little bit or just isolated and can't, like my parents, I can talk to and FaceTime and stuff, but somebody in a nursing home probably doesn't even know how to use that stuff, right? So
we had a really it was a crazy thing happen. One of our sitters, I guess, or the person who takes my oldest kid up to ballet into the city like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
She's older, and all we need is a person to kind of take her on the subway there and take her on the way and bring her back. But she's older, so she's 75 plus, and she lives by herself. And so a week into it, my wife is texting with her and she's, hey, just checking in, are you okay? And she's like, actually, like, I haven't been outside in like 3 days and I'm kind of feeling weak and blah, blah, blah. And so we're like, oh, wait, do you need food and stuff? And we came over, and she hadn't really been eating and was too afraid to go outside. And oh my God, it was like, it really it hit home that, what they've been saying about just like check in with people no matter what, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, hey, what's up? You cool? Good? Or, whatever it might be, it's important to do, just because you never know. And it was amazing because, she later confided that she just hadn't been out and she wasn't really basically eating for like 2 days or so. And you can't.
That's why you're weak. It's not Corona.
Well, there we go. I mean, but that's obviously one of the impacts of shutting everything down. And, they're trying to figure out this. It's a very much of a blunt force strategy to kind of just shut everything down, but they're trying to figure it out. So yeah, definitely check in with some folks.
It's always nice though, like, because there are those stories on social media of somebody like helping out an older person or like getting supplies for somebody who can't leave their home. And then there's the guy in Tennessee who bought all the hand sanitizer. There's everything is kind of happening.
There's another amazing video just before we go on of like just this couple buying everything in the dollar store. Like they have these 2 pallets and they're loading it in their truck. And everyone now at this point is like, dude, there's plenty of toilet paper. Yeah. Water's good. Everything's fine. Yeah. Well, yeah. Just give it like at my supermarket, there's tons of toilet paper.
Okay, why don't you send some over my way?
You know what? It's $45 a roll.
Exactly. After talking about all the positives.
It's a subscription service. Yeah.
So Captain Sharkbait says that she was unable to go see her dying / now gone grandmother.
Oh, man.
An uncle was sent to the ER during a potential heart attack and had to go alone. No one could go with him. And a cousin whose mother couldn't see her at all while giving birth and having her first kid.
Boy.
So somebody, I guess KSU Julie messaged, or I saw on her, I can't remember if she messaged us or if I saw on her social media where somebody in her apartment building, maybe it was at the grocery store, an older guy was like, I had my first granddaughter or whatever, and he's going crazy, but he was saying, he's like, I can't see her. Right. Like because of social distancing
totally.
and because of the birth, I can't go near my newborn, but he was still super excited. So life goes on, Pete.
Well, hold on a second. This Captain Sharkbait, I mean, what the hell? That's insane. That's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff to hit.
This is heavy stuff, but hopefully we'll I mean, sorry, man, with you. Thinking about you, man.
So Agata.rock, R-O-K, says that they can't get slots for grocery delivery. That yesterday she had a mental breakdown because they live in a flat without a garden and they're surrounded by houses with gardens, and her kids just want to go outside. And it's like, we got nowhere to go and we're not going outside. We're certainly not going to the neighbors being like, can we use your garden?
Well, now hold on a second. Are you when you have an outdoor space, are you only going in that space, or are you actually going outside your front door and walking around?
So I occasionally, because
we're going out, we're on the street every day. We gotta
you can. Well, because my wife hasn't been feeling well, right? Yeah. Like I've been going occasionally to the bodega or whatever to get some soup, or I'll go to Walgreens to get some medicine or whatever.
You're going to the bodega to get soup? Are you desperate for coronavirus?
Well, it's just nearby, and I'm not trying to leave her alone with the kids. She's in the room by herself, and the kids are doing stuff. I can't leave for 2 hours to go grocery shopping. We had a good friend who went grocery shopping for us and dropped the stuff at our front door.
There we go.
Which is really nice. And a couple of times we've gone to not the playground, but basically a paved park, right? And we've scooted around and played tag and stuff outside there. And there are other people around. And besides I'm tackling them and rubbing my face on them, but my kids aren't touching them.
There's a lot of let me borrow your sleeve, and just letting huge rips go.
So Stephanie Rhiannon, who I made fun of for being a Fleetwood Mac fan, actually told me she's not a Fleetwood Mac fan, but her parents were. So it's not like a made up handle. Rhiannon is her middle name, apparently, which is pretty intense. She says her grandmother is about to be 80, and she keeps insisting on going out. Physical therapy appointments, different stores. She's not taking it seriously, and she lives with her husband who has kidney issues, right? So, there's the young kids who are going to spring break and not taking it seriously. And then there's a contingent of older folks who maybe they're just I had a good run. Right. Maybe they don't care. But then the other challenge is if you live with somebody or you have a job that is deemed essential. She said her fiance is a mechanic, and mechanics are deemed essential.
Yeah.
And and I guess all sorts of morons come in. One guy wanted to get his Bluetooth reconnected on his car. I can't get my Bluetooth to connect to my phone, to my car or whatever.
Can he just take a moment and be like, sir, on behalf of the entire world, you are a dick.
Yeah, you are just a huge
hand out like a pandemic dick card. We should be able to
should have those.
Give someone, you know what I mean? Just be here, from one human being to another, you are a dick.
So Lucky Stars 4583 manages a restaurant in Ohio. All the non-essential businesses have been ordered to close, but hers isn't, right? Hers is essential. Her husband is about to get laid off because of the economy and what's happening.
Right.
And she's just it's impossible for me to socially distance. I work shoulder to shoulder with my coworkers. We serve hundreds, if not thousands, of guests a day. Thousands?
What is this? Olive Garden?
How many Michelin stars? Olive Garden, even better.
It might be.
No, hey, look, if your business is thriving, that's great. But she's just I'd rather be the one home because her husband is an extrovert, but he has to stay home with the kids. It sounds like my situation where my wife would be better staying home with the kids, but right now I'm forced to be the one to do it. Whereas if she were better, I would have fucking hightailed it. Alaska? Yeah. Is this thing in Alaska?
Yeah.
Is it possible to not socially distance in Alaska? There's nobody up there.
Those child mortality rates are going to go skyrocketing starting in your apartment probably weeks.
So again, those were some of the kind of more harrowing stories, but there's a bunch of people who wanted to talk about whether they were sick or what it's like knowing somebody who's sick. And so Aladora says she's a teacher, so she teaches her class virtually.
Okay,
thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's huge for us too.
Yep.
And she's also homeschooling her 4 kids. So
Oh,
she's teaching a class virtually and homeschooling 4 kids, and she's having a corona test on Thursday because she's feeling the symptoms.
Oh man.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
Here's hoping, man. Knock on wood. Christine Turner Lang woke up with tight breathing, cough, headache, and ears ringing. Has asthma and 2 kids. She was getting a test on Monday or Tuesday. M. Plahuta 0614 asked me this question, and I don't understand why. Do you think, meaning me, do I, Dad and Barry, the guy with a huge social media empire,
no discernible skills
podcast, and no skills or knowledge on anything, says, do you think when mosquitoes come out in a month they'll be able to pass it along? I don't fucking know. I hope not. I hope not. Hopefully they can only catch it.
If there's one thing that I know mosquitoes can do, are really good at, it's just fucking everything up really bad. Here's what they do. They're horrible in the summer evenings when you're trying to have a good time.
Here's the thing. If they have corona, they're not that much worse. It's already they're already the worst, right? They're not more the worst. You're just hoping that
I wonder if there's any species on this earth, they'll most likely be able to stack viruses, so some can have West Nile plus a little corona, a little stack corona cocktail. Yeah, they'll stack those viruses.
So there's a lot of people who are doctors or nurses or first responders and that kind of stuff who can't help being around sick people. So KT8857 says she's in isolation currently with symptoms because she's a paramedic and probably got it at work. So I did want to mention, some of the moms that I know on Instagram started an account called Masks for Heroes, where they're driving, trying to get charitable contributions to try to get personal protection equipment like masks and gloves and supplies for doctors and nurses and stuff who need them. So you can go to Masks for Heroes on Instagram, or you can go, I think there's a URL, Masks for Heroes, and find out how you can contribute. They not only you find out how to contribute, you can request supplies. Like if you're a doctor or you work at a hospital or something like that. So they're always looking for people to contribute making masks or donating and that kind of stuff, because one of the things we constantly hear around here is that there's no masks, no ventilators, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the thing. Like Mr. Rogers said, Pete, look for the heroes, right? Yeah. Look for the people who are trying to help. Is that what it is?
Did he say that? Did he say look for the heroes?
I think he said look for the helpers. Like when there's a tragedy, how do you talk to kids about it? Be like, don't focus on that. Focus on the people who are trying to help when the tragedy happens. And that's what Masks for Heroes is trying to do. So go check it out. Oh, and they're trying to get to 10,000 Instagram followers, because when they do, you can do a swipe up in your stories, which will make it easier to link to different places that are looking for help and that kind of stuff. Nice. So that's my good deed for probably the next 5 years.
There you go. Good job.
So a bunch of other people did say, so Gracie's mom says she's a nurse and she lives with a stepmom who's also a nurse. They work in Bronx hospitals. And as you know, New York City is basically the epicenter in the U.S. And she said after her shift, they take turns sleeping in the basement to protect the 2-year-old that's in the house. God. That's so scary. She's like, they're just waiting for one of them to come up positive. And that's the thing with me, right? So my wife has been sick for a while and I've been taking care of her. We're isolating as much as possible, but somebody needs to help. And it's odds are, if she has it, which her doctor diagnosed her with it, even without a test, then I probably got it. So then me staying isolated and not going out and mixing around with people becomes really important too, right? So I wear gloves everywhere and a mask when I can.
Well, hold on a second. I think one of the symptoms is extreme anger.
So I've had it my whole life.
And irritation, uncontrollable irritation.
Hating your kids.
There's one unique attribute to this coronavirus, and it's if you have kids, it's unbelievably grating the sound of their voice in the morning.
You know what? You can take the coronavirus out of the guy, but you can't take the guy out of the coronavirus, right? Does that make sense?
Not really. No.
Arlene DP ARLYND says she's 25 weeks pregnant and she's been sick for 11 days, or she was sick for 11 days. She was 90% sure it was COVID, but couldn't get a test because she could still breathe without a respirator. So this is the thing we dealt with Mom and Buried. So she's been unable to get tested, first because if you don't need to be hospitalized, or your symptoms aren't severe, then we can't get you tested. And then New York just cut off tests. So just basically if you have symptoms, assume you have it. We don't want to bring people around to other people who are sick. You don't want to take that chance. The concern with Mom and Buried is because she has she's at higher risk, is if this thing lingers around in your system for so long, and then it does, and your body's been fighting it for like 2 weeks, and then it does take a turn for the worse, is your body too depleted to fight it when that happens or whatever? But hopefully her symptoms don't get worse from where they are right now, and we make it through. But good luck, Arlene DP, and anybody else who needs a test and can't get one. Hopefully this thing slows down soon, but I don't know. But Guerra says her toddler has assumed coronavirus, which I think is sort of the same thing, like without getting a test, because they wouldn't give the test to him either. But his brother has leukemia and is coughing, right? And it's like, she's like, we still can't get him tested. The thing is, they say that if you get a test, like, unless you need a ventilator, right, you're basically just need to self-quarantine, treat it kind of like the flu. Don't take ibuprofen because that, I think, suppresses the fever when you actually want it to like burn out or something like that. But it's a mess.
I think part of it is just I think what we've been hearing, certainly from the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, who's been, I think great. He's been awesome, is that we just need to know what's, I mean, you knew from, I just in the pit of your stomach 2 weeks ago, you know what I mean? When you're like, hold on a second, like it's been everywhere. New York City, like, I mean, how, you're not going to get it. I mean, you have JFK and you have two international. There's no possible way this isn't going to become the epicenter. And the fact that there were no tests around, I felt like we were in the episode of Chernobyl, where it's like, oh my God, oh, we have 11 tests, or like 11 tests came back positive. How many tests do we have? 11. Oh, not good, not bad. You know what I mean? It's like, no. It's like, so I think the more people we know, because what he said today, I think was interesting, which was just figuring out who actually is through it, or who can kind of get back in the mix. And again, like to your point, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what we
imagine. It's almost like if you had it, and now you're immune to it. If that's actually the case, like you walk around like fucking Superman at this point, like fuck yeah, walking. I'm going to spring break. If that happens,
you go like this. What's up?
Yeah. But you can still carry it, I think, even if you're.
Yeah, but you can't. You absolutely cannot be a dick. What was that guy's name in the NBA? Who did it? Who was French?
Oh, Rudy Gobert, who like licked the mics and stuff.
Yeah, he licked the mic and
touched them all.
And he was
that was before it got super real though. It was like the day before the night
the day before they shut down the NBA. Was that
because he tested positive with it.
Yeah, and then so did everybody else in the locker room. I guess.
Yes.
But anyway.
So
good luck to you guys.
We got some suggestions from people for how to cope, or them wondering how to cope. Bill D'Amica, who's a patron, and a very loyal guy to the podcast, says he's just 2 kids at home with 2 parents working from home. Not good. Both have coughs too. A lot of fun, which I think is something everybody can relate to, with or without the coughs. It's not a lot of fun having to work from home and homeschool. Everybody's in the house at the same time. Steve Rouch wonders how early in the day you can start drinking. You know what, Steve?
Very early.
You do you. There's a meme going around being like coronavirus or the quarantine is like airport rules. If you want to have like a drink at 7 a.m., knock yourself out.
Airport rules for sure.
Yeah. Ali Bilchek said her husband had to go for a drive because the kids tracked dirt into the clean house for the 100th time. He was just like,
I'm telling you.
He's like,
I gotta
step out.
It's like that airport rule that I'm suggesting. It's like if your kid is caught with slime in the living room, it's okay. Like if child mortality happens, it happens. It turns out we actually have 5 kids and we're down to 3. Wow. The other 2 just wouldn't listen.
Greg, R.I.P. Greg.
Greg with 3 G's just wouldn't listen to that no slime rule. But I will say, I've been working, and I have my fortress of solitude is my car. I'll literally not go anywhere. I'll just go into my car.
I haven't done that yet.
And take a call or be able to like just sit, like in Garden State. I'll just sit and just stare. Yeah.
As the world goes by in front of you, because you're so glassy-eyed.
Yep.
Yeah. You are a lot like Zach Braff.
That's right. I am.
So under the coping section, Marta.m3 just wrote, she didn't know she was being put under the coping section, but I asked for if you have any tips for surviving it, and she just put one word: iPad. 100%. I'm in 100% agreement. Last week, my kids got so much screen time that first week, especially when my wife was feeling her worst. And now is a little bit more structure, at least for my 4th grader, with the remote classroom. But so we did the Hammer had virtual speech therapy today, which he didn't have all last week, and that was fun. I think he was excited that it was over the computer because he stayed laser focused and did it all. Maybe that will wear off, but I was really worried that he was just going to be looking around and like seeing where I am and where his brother is and stuff. But he stayed focused, which was great. But the iPad, I think it's essential, right? I can't imagine, like I said earlier, I can't imagine going through this with like a power outage or no internet.
Yeah.
If this happened in like 1988.
No, it'd be game over for sure. I mean, no.
Rayo Kate says she deep cleaned parts of her house, tried some homeschool lesson plans, and just said, fuck it.
Yeah, it's enough. Who cares? I tried. Hey, listen, you know what? That's when you pop the wine and you put your feet up and you're like, hey, I gave it a shot.
If it's 10:30 a.m., what are you going to do? Who cares?
10:30, yeah. Hey, listen, it's 7:30 a.m. Who cares?
No judgment here.
Yeah.
So we talk, the homeschooling work from home thing is again, it's kind of been on the back burner for me because of my wife. But once she is better, it's all I'm going to be talking about and bitching about, going stir crazy, but also the homeschooling and having to work from home and doing those all at the same time.
Yeah.
We're trying to procure some kind of desk so that like I can have a desk and my son can have a desk. And right now we're both next to each other at the dining room table. It is not a recipe for success for anybody. So the Great Dane 2013 says it's a nightmare homeschooling my 7-year-old. We're trying to work full time. 100% agree. She says send rum. I don't drink rum. Do you?
Not really. No.
Like when I'm on vacation, if I get like a pina colada, maybe. Yeah. Or
but there's also like you know what, the only dark and stormy. There we go.
Yeah, I don't really like those. Every once in a while I'll dabble.
Well, the other thing is you got to kind of get the right rum. Because you get the white rum, and that's like Bacardi, and it's gross or whatever.
Yeah.
Like other rums that are white.
Our mutual friend Tim, me and Tim once went to a party at Ron Bacardi's son's house.
Okay.
And we went and we got.
You know what? That's a great story.
We got blacked out drunk, and Tim left his keys there. And the next morning, we had to drive back to Boston. This was in Worcester. We were visiting somebody in Holy Cross. And we had to drive back to Boston because he was dropping me back off at school. And he realized he didn't have his keys because he left them at the party. So we had to go back to this dude's apartment and like wake him up at 7 a.m. We were like, he was a raging party. So we were hungover. I'm sure he was too. We were like, there was no way we're getting these keys. We had to break into the building. I boosted him and he'd get into a window to get into the building. And then we knocked on this dude's door and he fucking opens the door. He's like, man, your keys, no problem. And he runs and gets the keys. He had them in 2 seconds. And then on the way home, we pulled over on the side of the road and I puked while Whipping Post by Allman Brothers was on the Mass Pike.
Nice. On the Mass Pike?
On the Mass Pike.
You piked, you actually like on the shoulder? You puked on the shoulder?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah. I don't know. I don't remember. Look, you know what? Stop poking holes in my story. It was 1994. Okay?
Ugh.
God, that's gross.
Did they have cars back then?
TNZ+3 said that they just got word schools are closed for the rest of year in Virginia, which hasn't been announced here, but I'm anticipating it.
Yeah.
That you're not going to be going back to school. And the thing that is toughest about that, I think, if you're a senior, right, you miss out on like all of the last like 2-3 months of your senior year.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, it's hard for my middle schooler does the middle school to high school transition.
Yeah, same thing, right? Yeah, she's leaving one school to go to another.
I mean, that's same with like, the fifth graders and all that stuff. And so, look, my wife keeps freaking out about it. She's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, every single person, not in New York, not in the United States, but in the world is going through the exact same thing at the same time. That's really kind of amazing. That's, I think, the most amazing part about this. It's like every time I think like, I'm on a call and my son runs in talking about Legos.
Yes, it's universal.
It's not like here is one thing, but like in Singapore or like Europe, it's something else. Like, dude, everyone's home.
So like today,
calls from their car.
Today I had a conference call and like I went dark for like 10 minutes because like my kids left their play area and came and were bothering me and all this shit. And I went back and I'm like, sorry, man. Like my kid, she's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like my kid did the same thing like 10 minutes ago. Right. So like, this is the way it is. But can I suggest that the transition is going to be tough because people are just suddenly, you're not going back to school and then you're going to a new school. You need to study the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right. So at the end of Infinity War, Thanos snaps his fingers and half the population disappears. Right. And then during the end game, spoiler alert, the good guys win and everybody comes back, right? But how did they handle it? Because 5 years has gone, but these people haven't aged and they came back. Right. So then Spider-Man Far From Home shows what happens. It's called the blip, the big gap where everybody disappeared and some people came back, and it was very confusing. But I tell you, the scholars, I think, are going to be studying the MCU.
Wow.
How to implement this.
You really... Wow. Thank you for taking us on that journey.
Well, you know what? Somebody thought I knew about... I don't know about mosquitoes.
No,
but I know about superhero movies.
You don't know anything really about any sort of medical advice whatsoever. What you do know about is so specific to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that it's almost completely useless.
If instead of Ant-Man, they made Mosquito Man, I could have answered that person's question.
You could have. I bet you there's got to be
there probably is somewhere. It is probably delightful.
Yeah.
K-Will37 says... K-Will37 says, having homeschool on top of everything else has been the hardest. No shit. Bale_hey says, our son threw up pancakes and bacon all over his mini trampoline during recess. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
My daughter, Lady JP, says, my daughter filmed me doing yoga and then turned it in as her gym video. These kids. Carrie Woodhouse says, working from home full time with 3 kids is harder than I ever imagined. I have less time, right? So there are people who are like, I'm so bored. What am I going to do? I have less time. That's not the case if you have kids, especially if you have kids and a full-time job. It's really hard.
It's funny. I talked to someone today who is just someone who's in Europe, and they go, I'm in my apartment. I'm by myself. And so like when I go out to walk, I have to go walk by myself, and then I come back into my apartment by myself, and I'm like, stop talking. Like, I get it. You have an amazing life, and I'm jealous of you. Stop rubbing it in.
Must be lonely.
But his point was that he was super lonely, and I was like, just shut up.
What I wouldn't give to be lonely for 5 minutes. You son of a bitch.
And that's all I think about when I'm in my car. Just sat there, parked,
loving it.
Just getting a ticket. just letting it happen.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
Ryan Such, who I think has been following me on Twitter since like 2010. This guy, I think, and his wife too. He's been very loyal. He said his wife stole his desk. This is the situation I'm having. He said, I freelance and she makes the real money, so no argument. For me, like, we have very limited table space, desk space, where we're gonna work and all this stuff. And it's really jockeying, like, who's gonna get what, who's gonna use what. To me, it seems pretty straightforward. It's like, look, you've been working at this desk for probably a few years. Your wife needs a desk, so you compromise, and she gets the desk. I mean, it's really straightforward. You just that's what he said.
Out of my desk. This is my
literally
desk.
what he said.
This is my desk. I know. I'm just saying that's how it's prison rules up in here. Prison rules.
This is one of my favorite comments. So SC Rourke says, I'm just forced into being a stay-at-home mom. Fuck trying to homeschool the spawn. I'm no hero. You know what? Know your limitations. I wish I did.
Exactly.
But the concern and it's really great that a lot of these schools, especially around here, have been able to do the remote classroom thing because, it'd just be anarchy without some kind of structure.
It's so funny. My son is in kindergarten. He's in this dual language Spanish-English program.
Oh my God.
We're like, whatever, who cares? Like, at this point, we're like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We're public school. But this one mom in this group was just getting completely bullshit. It's day one. At the end of day one, she was like, what's going on? The teacher's not on, not there.
Oh, right.
Like, this is probably her only kid. And I'm just like, dude, like, what? Just chill. Like, literally got super, like, tried to start a revolution. It was day one.
She's going through some stuff herself.
No, I know.
Anxiety affects people in different ways.
But she was really pulling a Spartacus moment. Like, who's with me?
And everyone was like, no.
Everyone was like, you know what? It's day one. It was a little chaotic, but it was day one.
Yesterday was day one, and he happens to have science on Mondays, and like we had to watch a video about here's what your science project is going to be, and it's some elaborate thing where you have to make a huge tray of Jell-O and put index cards and straws and pipe cleaners together. Like, I don't have this shit lying around my house. I bet your wife does, but my wife posted a whole thing. She's like, craft stores aren't essential. Like, we're not open. We're not going to a craft store to get a pipe cleaners. Like, bitch, you cray, right? Like, everybody chill. We're not going to do this. And I told my son, he's like, he really wants to do it. The one thing he really wants to do. I'm like, buddy, We're not gonna be building anything where we need to go get supplies. Though I did order printer ink finally.
Oh, there we go.
So I need some of that. Check your kids at the door.
Whatever you do, Mike, whatever you do, don't order those supplies, online or anything like that, because there aren't cards online.
No.
Jello doesn't exist online.
You know what? They don't come quick enough for the assignment, bitch. Everything is on back order. I'm not going to make some Amazon guy put himself
Jello's
in
on back order
to get index
Jello's
cards.
on back order.
I'll fucking snap your neck. We have Jello. Pipe cleaners?
Okay, good.
Good. You know what? You son of a bitch. It's
all right. You guys are all set with Jello.
When Mom and Buried is healthy, she's gonna come on here and she's gonna lay into you for that one.
Give me what for, huh?
Check your kids at the door says that his son refused to eat anything but goldfish for 3 days, just because he needs routines, and without him, it's anarchy. Cats and dogs living together.
Let him do it.
So on a serious note, the last comment we got, Jeanette Vivis, I think that's what it is, 2 V's IS, said on Facebook, she said, we're stuck at home with a high-risk 3-year-old. He's had lung issues. In her experience, she said, it's a nightmare. Paw Patrol and audiobooks cheer him up. He hasn't played with other kids since 10 days and is missing his friends and grandparents. Right. Paw Patrol and Toast and FaceTime calls. Don't know what else to do. And that's the thing everybody is dealing with, right? So like my kid's school, at like a certain time every day, they do a big Zoom video where all the kids can and it's really annoying being next to my kid when he's doing it, because he just wants to goof around and be an idiot, and all the kids want to do that, which is the whole point.
Right.
I don't care. It just infuriates me because I'm a piece of shit. Even though I'm saying to you now, I know that this is what it's for. It's for him to get his yayas out and for all the kids to be goofy and interact in ways that they can't right now, which is really kind of sad. But I don't care. It just pisses me off and it's annoying. Yeah. Stop being so hyper. Stop trying to make your friends laugh.
Yeah. But so you're not getting, but you're getting out a little bit. We've set up a routine where we get out before school starts. Like we go around the block.
Yeah, you need to get out of the house all the time though.
We do around the block. Yeah, we got it.
It's hard though for me because Mama Verity's been down, right? So it's just me, and I have work when we wake up and all this stuff. So get off my back.
Oh my God, I'm not even on your back. Believe me, there's nothing I'd rather do than be on your back.
Me give you a piggyback. Yeah. Maybe we can do that if we get 200 reviews.
All right. Well, there we go. But yeah, you go getting out, but like, just not doing anything, not touching anything.
Oh yeah, that's why we don't go to the playground.
And the 6-foot rule, I gotta tell my 5-year-old always 6 feet, because he just will go up to anybody.
He's too friendly.
He's so friendly. Yeah, too friendly.
You got to get that out of him. No need to be friendly. Live in New York.
I know. I'm teaching him prison rules. So first I've got him smoking, so he knows the value of cigarettes.
And you got to teach him make a shank or a shiv out of a toothbrush.
No, first I need to teach him the difference between a shiv and a shank. One stabs and one cuts. Yeah, come on.
Oh, okay.
Give me a break.
Good to know.
Simple stuff.
So that was our big Corona episode. Though we did have some comments from a few weeks back from some previous episodes, right? So on our work-life balance episode, we talked about how hard it is to get alone time or even to get date nights. And Charles Hamilton wrote in and said, he said, as he's writing the comment, he said, "This is my personal time." He's like, it's 10:32 a.m. on a Friday. I got a half pint of wild turkey, and I'm commenting on 56 episodes of the Dad and Buried podcast. That is some sad personal time.
By the way, 10:32 a.m.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I've listened since episode 3 and always have thoughts, but never time to comment. He's like, now I have free time.
There we go.
He said he ended up with 6 kids. No wonder he has no free time. 4 to 15 years old.
And you know what's amazing? What's so like quaint about this comment was from 2 episodes ago, which I think was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's a totally different world.
Yeah, and the world is like just completely changed. No, it's 4 weeks ago because we missed that one week.
He said, for a couple times they go to whatever reservation they had, and then they come home, and it's like, come home? What's this mean? You went out somewhere? That's not that's happening anymore. This is just a different world.
Yeah.
Peter Evans says that she teeters on the work-life tightrope. They both work full-time. The 4-year-old's in kindergarten 4 days a week. They don't have a day off altogether, which sucks. So forget social life. Hey, guess what? You're all together now.
Yeah. Surprise.
And look, and then Charles Hamilton actually went to the episode before that and commented, true to his word.
Oh no, he's commented on these are the best of.
He went through all 56.
He was true to his word. He went through every single one. Yeah.
He commented about how all his kids, since he has 6 kids, and they're all varying ages, 4 to 15, and there's so many different personalities, despite the fact that they are all raised in the same house with the same parents. I assume he said at least 20 different personalities between the 6 boys, depending on attitude and circumstance. The youngest is the sum of every negative trait of the other 5, with his own twist. That sounds like a nightmare. Yeah. It's like Serpentor in the G.I. Joe, when they took like the genes from Genghis Khan and Attila the Hun and Hitler and made a supervillain. You remember that?
Yeah, and then was it the twins, right? No.
Yeah, I don't remember their names. Were they in Zardoz? And I don't know if that was the name. Zardoz might be Sean Connery. Sergeant Slaughter. There's an episode with Sergeant Slaughter. He was really tough, where he used his thumbnail to unscrew something, because even his thumbnails were tough.
I mean, we all do that. What's the big deal?
Well, no, I know, but this was like a really hard one to do, but not for him. Oh. He happened to have a Phillips head thumbnail.
Okay, yeah, easier. And it was a frozen nut. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a really random reference, Serpentor.
Listen, G.I. Joe. I'm into it. I was a big G.I. Joe guy.
Who wasn't? There were only 3 shows back then: He-Man, G.I. Joe, and Thundercats, and they were all fucking great.
They were so good. Do you remember Man at Arms?
Yes.
He-Man, Man at Arms. God, he was
Man at Arms. It was his right-hand man.
And he had
cat
this
was named Cringer until he turned into Battle Cat, and I thought Cringer was a cool name for a cat.
Oh yeah, and man, those were good. Remember theme tunes?
So good. Huh?
Theme tunes to shows. Those were good too.
I do remember those. You want to sing some?
No.
Guess what that is? I'm talking about like lyrics. Is that Knight Rider?
Magnum PI.
Oh, you're right.
That's one of the best.
Magnum or the song? The show or the song?
Well, I mean, you could say both, but definitely.
You know what you can do? You know what you can do right now? Because you got all the free time in the world. Go binge some Magnum. Go binge some Magnum PI.
All right, everyone. That's your assignment for this week.
I would do A-Team.
A-Team was up there.
Because A-Team was cool because the second half of the episode, they always built some contraption.
Oh, my God. It was the best. Yeah, I mean, it was just cool. BA would come out. There'd be heavily armed men everywhere. Yeah. And BA would come out with this like cabbage shooter, just shooting cabbage at people. And people are like, ah.
There's never any blood.
Even I remember
sprayed with gunfire.
I remember a helicopter crashed, like flew into the side of a mountain. And once the helicopter was in flames on the ground, 2 sort of coughing men appeared from the wreckage as they walked away in their suits. Yeah.
Did you ever see the A-Team movie with Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper?
I did.
It's like 7 hours long. It's actually not that bad. It bombed, but it's not that bad.
No, but that's when we got to see Bradley Cooper's real assets.
Look, you know what? Keep it to yourself. Poor man's Michael Fassbender.
Jacked. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys. Everybody stay healthy out there.
Stay healthy. And
stay bored.
Stay bored. And listen, we're gonna come at you next week. It'll not be the same
special episode next week, Pete.
Yeah.
Special episode. We'll let you guys know later in the week. It is April 1st. Well, are we going to put it out on April 1st, the Wednesday? Because that's actual April 1st.
Ooh, that could be a very sort of April Fool's thing to do.
It could be.
And we are a couple of big time fools. So yeah,
hopefully we'll be. Maybe we'll have maybe the social distancing will have slowed this thing down by next week.
Maybe it'll be faster than ever.
You know what? I'm going to do some research on mosquitoes.
Yep.
And I'll find out. I'm going to crack the code.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. See you, everyone.
Peace.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel Movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there. In the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money. All the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.